today we are going to begin making a rainbow ice cream cone. So you're going to get 2 tracers, a scoop of the ice cream and the cone. Except our ice cream is going to be way more than 1 scoop. It's going to be nice and tall. So what we're going to start with is having our paper horizontal like this. And we're going to scooch the cone all the way far in the bottom right corner, and we're going to trace the cone. Once you have the cone traced, please pass that to somebody else. If you're waiting for a cone, then you could start tracing your scoops. Your scoops are going to start all the way to the bottom left on the opposite side, and we're going to make 6 scoops. So I'm going to trace this 6 times. So notice that my scoops were close together so that I could fit all 6. Now in this area over here, we're just going to trace a glue stick for a circle, and this is going to be our cherry that goes on top of our ice cream. So notice my circle's not perfect. That was just to get a general circle shape so you can kind of fix anything up that you need to fix. When you cut it out, cut it so it's a little bit more of a circle. So once you have your scoops, your circle, and your cone, name on the back, and you're going to put your room number. So once we have this, we are ready to paint. Now that we're ready to paint, we're just going to use the 3 basic primary colors. So we've got yellow, that cyan, lighter blue, and then we're actually using a magenta. Remember, magenta or pink is just a lighter version of red. So magenta works a little bit better to mix colors. So the first color you're going to paint with is the yellow. So you're going to paint this scoop, any scoop really, with the yellow paint. Nice, neat brush strokes. After you paint with the yellow, then you're going to paint the cherry. So the cherry is going to be that magenta color. Now, while your magenta is still on the brush, you are going to take a scoop of that magenta over to the yellow and stir and mix it up. Can you see what color you get? Get a nice orange. So you want to mix just a little at a time. If you mix too much magenta into the yellow, you're going to get a really dark, like a red orange, and it might not look very orange at all. So mix a little at a time, and if you need more, you can always go back and get more. So once you have a nice orange, then you're going to paint a scoop orange. So brush stroke direction matters. You want to stay nice and neat, nice long brush strokes. Try to stay in your lines so that way you can see where you are supposed to cut these out later. Once you're done with the orange, really wipe your brush off very well. So now we have our magenta, orange, our yellow, and so after yellow in the rainbow is green, but we need to use some blue first because we need to use some blue to make green. So I'm going to go ahead and paint one of my scoops with the blue. And you want to make sure that your brush is very clean. You got to wipe it off really well. You can always test it on your paper to make sure it's coming off clean, especially between using the blue and the orange, because these are known as complementary colors, which means they look good next to each other, but if you mix them together, you're going to get brown. So we don't want any orange on our brush, otherwise our blue might look a little brown. So now that this is done, now I'm going to mix for my green. So to do that, you need to use your other yellow blob and leave that blue on your brush. Remember, we don't want too much. And we're gonna mix this right into our yellow so that we get our green. Now that's a very light green. So what I might want to do is kind of wipe off the extra and wipe off the extra on my rag too, and then get another scoop of blue. There we go. So this is about the green that I would like. So now I'm going to use this green and paint another scoop. So now that I'm done with my green, I'm gonna wipe my brush off, and this is where we have two colors left and they could be a little tricky. The first color that we're going to be using is blue violet, and blue violet, or indigo as it's also known, especially in the rainbow, is more blue than purple. So we're just gonna scoop up a little bit of that pinkish red and mix that around. And you want it to be a different color than this blue, but still be very blue. So this is a pretty good indigo. It has a little bit of a purple to it, but not much. So if I think I need a little more, again, I could clean this off, scoop a little bit more red, mix this up. I just want to make sure it doesn't get too purple, because we want this to be more of an indigo color, which is a little bit more blue. It's a blue-violet color. Okay, so now that I have my indigo, I'm gonna clean my brush off, and I'm just going to mix a nice big scoop of this indigo, pretty much what I have left, into the remaining of what I have left of my pink or magenta. And this is still very red violet, so I'm gonna need a little more blue. So you wanna make sure it definitely looks purple compared to your indigo. And now I have my violet that I've created. Okay, so now I have all the scoops. I've got my cherry. Now I just have my ice cream cone. So I'm going to clean my brush off very, very well for this. So really making sure that it's wiping clean. And then you are going to create a cone color. When you're color mixing, something that's important is that you always mix the darker color into the lighter color. So I'm gonna just take a small scoop of this brown and mix it into this peachy color. Now because I'm not using brown for anything else, I'm just gonna kind of double dip and keep adding brown until I get a cone color that I like. And if you want to, since we have some leftover orange, you can mix some orange in here too to change the color a bit. I think I have a color that I like for my cone, so you can create whatever color you would like for your cone. So now that I have this nice tannish color, I'm going to paint in my cone. When you mix, it's important that you stir the paint until all the swirls are gone. You wouldn't want to see swirls of different colors in your paint. Like, see how this is really swirly over here? I wouldn't want to use, or like this or this, I wouldn't want to use that paint until I've completely stirred it. So again, nice, long, neat brush strokes. Try to stay in your lines best you can. I'm not staying in mine perfectly, but I'm trying my best. There we have it. Just be careful of like drips, like I have a little drip there. I wouldn't want to get into my ice cream cone scoops. Be very careful if you're pulling your brush over. Maybe have your paint container closer to where you are planning on painting. And there you have it. So next time, I would go ahead, once these are dry, get these all ready to assemble into a cone.